3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running.
Whether you've been married 1 or 20 plus years, at some point, you realized you were married into crazy.
And that's what our podcast is all about. We offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as we unpack this crazy thing called marriage.
So sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
All right, let's go.
Welcome to another episode of Married into Crazy with Snooks and Lovey. I'm Lovey.
I'm Snooks.
And as always, like we always start every single show, thank you for coming back and joining the conversation with us. We always say that this is an opportunity for couples to be a fly in the wall, to really get the inner workings and listen to a conversation between a married couple that's been doing this thing for 20 plus years.
Not doing this podcast for 20 plus years. This thing being our marriage, right?
This thing being marriage. Right. Hey, we're not saying we always get it right, but hey, we're still standing.
That's right.
Right. It's like, okay, so it's like it's like the opportunity to stand on
the podium,
the Olympic podium. That's what I'm talking about.
So that's what's going on right now. And in our house, we are watching the Olympics. I'm watching stuff I never watched before. I think I watched some kind of weird stuff last time. I won't call it weird, but just things I noticed that I would not have watched before. So
no, I hear you. The same here. But before we get there, get there. Before we go there,
okay.
What I want to do is remind everybody, we need you to be Olympic in your effort to go to Apple Podcast and put 5 stars up on it. Give that rating of 5 stars, but then also leave a review. We love interacting, but also hearing how we're impacting or how some of the stories of the couples that we're bringing to you are able to impact what you're doing and help you kind of continue to move forward in the continuum of your relationship. Mm-hmm. So wherever you listen, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anyway,
iHeartRadio,
there's so many. There's a plethora of places that
Pandora.
It's all there. Wherever you have the opportunity to go ahead and leave a review and go ahead and definitely hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it. And it's about exposing more individuals and invite a few friends as well. So anyway.
You know what? I just have to say this. I think it's really kind of funny. Relatively cute, I guess. Someone told me they think that it's so cute that I always look at you. Like when you're talking, when we're doing a podcast and because they watch it on YouTube. She's like, I think it's so cute. You always look at your husband when he's talking. I'm like, what?
She didn't say it was cute when I look at you though?
She just noticed that I look at you. I guess, I don't know. You don't look at me that much.
And I gaze into your eyes.
Don't gaze. Move your hand.
Hey, so look.
Anyway, I just thought I'd share.
This is like synchronized podcasting right now, like synchronized swimming, which I don't think, have they done that yet?
I don't know. They've done synchronized swimming.
I don't know why, but every year I seem to get sucked in and end up watching synchronized swimming at some point, just because I'm like, I'm amazed that they can do all those things and come so far out of the water and in tandem and in sync. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Even, watching the double diving, like being on point.
True.
They're doing it all at the same time. They're spinning and hit the water together.
So if you haven't already guessed the theme, this is, look, bottom line is that marriage is an Olympic sport.
What do you mean?
We were watching the Olympics and that was everything we're watching, all these Herculean efforts, to lift the weights, to like we're watching rowing or canoeing or something.
Oh my gosh, with those two guys?
I was like,
the way that they were doing it, or
like,
the one dudes, where they're
exactly.
Yeah.
Either way, all of it was just like, okay. I said
we didn't do that when we were in Jamaica. We went canoeing, but we wasn't acting like that.
I'm paddling forward, she's paddling backwards.
That's not what. Well, okay, it was.
Yeah, it was because you're like, why are we going anywhere?
I was like, what the heck?
But here's the thing. We were watching them in sync, and then it dawned on me. It's like, you know what? That's a lot like marriage. It's like they're in the same boat, but they have to be rowing in the same direction and at the same cadence, at the same, so cadence meaning the same speed. And it's got to be not just you doing the left and me doing the right. I mean, they were like just boom, 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 boom. It was like a well-oiled machine.
Same time.
And when they get a little bit out of sync, then they slow down or they have to, but the beauty of it is they get to restart again. And it made me think that, you know what? Marriage is also an Olympic sport. Mm-hmm. there's so many aspects of what we do in our relationships that has some kind of relevance to the Olympics.
Tell me one.
Let me tell you one. Okay.
Besides the rowing.
Okay.
Or
Besides
was
rowing.
it canoeing? Okay, whatever they were doing.
Okay. I'll give you one.
Okay, give me one.
Simone Biles. Simone, when she actually had to withdraw from the individual all around, and she cited because it was due to mental health, and she needed to take time to get back. So she has a case of the twisties, right?
It wasn't just individual. She withdrew from the team. Remember first the Olympic team.
Oh, that's right. The team event and then the individual.
And then individual. Okay.
But she had to withdraw
Proceed.
altogether. See, here we go. She trying to go down.
I said, go ahead.
But because of that, it's the mental piece. And there's times in our relationship where we need a mental break because we're trying to do too much or doing too little, or something's not going quite the way that we want it or we think it should. And we've got to take a moment to pause and be like, okay, we just need to just slow down and rethink this. Not rethink the marriage, but gain that mental clarity. Because there's times where we just need a break. Like, okay, I need to come in the office and get away from everybody. There's times where you're like, okay, I'm going up to the bedroom. Don't nobody come up there and bother me because I'm going to be reading my book or whatever. But it's that mental piece. And I thought that, and from that adversity, so many other things. And there's so many lessons that blossom out of just Simone Biles. Her withdrawal did so many other things. Now you may talk.
I kind of felt like I knew where you were going, but I kind of just wanted to talk a little bit about her and what you were saying about her stepping back. So like you said, I totally agree with sometimes we need to take that we have to step back, but it's part of that self-soothing. You know, we've talked about it before when we talk about the four horsemen, and I liken her twisties kind of to how we become flooded in our relationships, or we're talking, you know, we're going too much or we're doing too much, or I'm just like, I just can't anymore. And so we had to learn how to self-soothe, you know, the physiological aspect of it. Because if I'm not, until I self-soothe and I step back and then I'm ready to come back and get back in the game, you know, everything is for naught if I don't do that. And I feel like what she did was very important and very selfless, even though some people said it's selfish, but kind of to where I feel like you were going. So many things blossomed out of her stepping back because the light was able to be shown on different people. Because let's just be honest, when we said gymnastics, the only person we thought of was Simone Biles. How is she going to come in and just rake up all of the gold medals, and everyone else was kind of in the shadows? But
and it's no slight to anyone else, because
no,
but every Olympics it was the same thing. You know, when previous Olympics, when you talked about not last one but the one prior to that, it was all about Gabby, you know.
It was well, okay, yeah, you're right.
But it was, you know, but that was the main focus. And then before that, I mean, there were the years where it was Mary Lou Retton, or it was what's her name, Nadia.
Long time ago.
Yeah, so it was like Nadia. So there's all these different. I mean, there's always the face of it, but just because you mention her doesn't mean there's no slight on everyone else.
No,
because now it's all about Suni.
Well, from America it is, you know, but I mean, there so many other people have been able to shine
as
a result from her unselfish act. Because let's just be clear, I'm just my opinion, if she would have stayed in, it would have just been about her. Now it's about her in a different kind of way, but light has been shown on other people. So kind of back to what you were talking about, Olympics being how marriage is like a Olympic sport. There's Michaela Skinner.
Well, before we go to Michaela,
okay, let's go.
Think about Simone. How you mentioned her it being an unselfish act, right? It was selfless of her to actually. I agree, and she even mentioned it, that it was like it would have been selfish of her to stay in it, knowing that she could have harmed the team. You know, not just harm herself, and lose sight of where she was at, and she could have died or really maimed herself really bad.
Mhm.
But she was like, why should the team
Suffer.
suffer if I know that I'm not at my 100% to be able to do this?
Exactly.
That's why she even said that's why there are alternates. That's because these people are just as good, or they're capable. So it's their time to shine, not
Yeah.
mine.
They
So
all
she
made the
stepped aside.
team.
But that selfless act is something that we should be doing in our marriages as
Mhm.
well. It's like, you know what? I really want to buy these golf clubs, but I know that we said that we want to save up money for the, to buy a house or whatever,
Or we
or a
need
down
pots and
payment,
pans for
or
cooking.
right, exactly. These different things. I know we need a new car seat for the baby, but man, I really do want to buy this new game console or whatever. We need to take a step back and be selfless in that same respect, that do something for the betterment of the team, not just for your own glory.
Mhm. Exactly. I agree with that because so many times there, we've heard, and I'm gonna be honest, I've said, well, I work, so how come I can't go spend what I want to spend for whatever?
She ain't lying. She said that.
I
She said
did
it.
when I was immature, y'all.
Oh, that must have been last week
Oh
when she bought them
wow,
pictures for the
really?
bathroom. I'm just no, but they look good. They
I know
look
you're
good.
ashamed.
They look
Anyway,
good.
so but so you just made me lose my train of thought because
You're
you were
talking
just
about
talking
Michaela.
about me. Okay, so from that self-soothing act of Simone, it opened up the door for another gymnast, Michaela Skinner. So Michaela came. She didn't make the team for the team sports. She was like the alternate. She said she was getting ready to leave and take a flight back home, and then she got the call.
I read that too, that she was going to board a
Yeah,
plane
she
to
was about to
leave.
board a plane to go back home, but then she got the call when Simone pulled out for the individuals for the vault. She stood in her place and she got silver. So that to me is like, I thought that was awesome because how many times have we just almost been ready to throw the towel in?
Hmm.
And we're just like, you know what, just forget it. It's whatever. But something pulls us back and then we get on the podium. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And then you just got to be ready. Like when that moment comes, when that opportunity arises, you got to pounce on it. Like, you know what? Well, look at our marriage. We looked at year 4, right? So there was, there you were.
I was Michaela, finna get on the plane.
I felt like I was Michaela
I'm
finna get on
finna
the
get on the
plane.
plane.
No,
Then
you
I stayed.
you kicked me off the plane.
Oh,
You kicked me off the island.
okay.
You
We're
voted
not
me off
about
the
to
island.
fight
You
about who's
listen.
gonna be
She said,
Michaela.
okay. So then you said, I don't want to be married no more. Well, all that, right? And so we're going
That's not
through
how
it.
I said it.
And so I was like, okay, well, fine. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. Boom, it's done. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and get divorced. I'm gonna move out. Blah blah blah. And then you got injured. How? You got laid off from your job. Or actually, the whole company shut down, but I got laid off. There was no income that was going to come into the household where you were going to stay. So I was about to get on the plane, AKA get the moving van, which I had already paid for, and the deposit I already put in the house. And then I got the call. And then they said, Ern, she needs you, man. You can't leave her. Against her own will, you cannot leave her, even though she don't want you. We need you. You don't know what this is going to mean, but we need you to be like Michaela.
Wow.
Be ready to step in. Be ready to step in and get that medal. We need you to
Okay.
medal right now as a man and as a husband.
Okay.
Step in.
I can see that. I still feel like I was Michaela though, but okay.
Mm,
Okay, I can see that. Good job, Lovey.
I'm just saying.
High five.
I'm feeling some kind of way right now. I don't know if I want to high five you.
Wow. Look at you. Stop being a big old baby. Anyway, but no,
Anyway,
like kind of like you were just saying, being able to, it's almost like I with her, let's just take her. She made the team, but she wasn't called to do any of the events, right? And she could have felt some kind of way about, well, dang, I'm here, I am, I'm not even able to participate. They send me all the way here and I'm doing nothing, so I could just go home. Resentment could have set in and she could have just been off her game or whatever, but she was like, no, I'm about to just give it my shot. I'm gonna
she
shoot my shot basically, and I'm gonna do what I have to do, not just for myself, but for
right? She was like Hamilton.
yeah, that's true. But she shot her shot and she got a goal. I mean, a
silver.
silver.
She got a silver. Yep,
She
she did.
hit her goal of medaling. You
But
know,
there's other sports though. There's other things. See, this to me, this entire Olympics this year, so it even
it's
began
about coming overcoming adversity for
just the fact that it
so
is
many
Tokyo
people.
2021. If you look at television, it says
It's
Tokyo
Tokyo
2020.
2020. Yeah.
But the fact that we're even having the Olympics, the whole premise of it is about overcoming adversity because of COVID. Didn't have it last year, but you know what? We're not done. We're going to have it this year. So we're having it this year. That put a lot of people, you know, on the outer edge of it because they weren't able to. They were on a cycle of performance, trying to peak at the right time for the Olympics last year.
Hmm.
Weren't able to do it. So you have people that weren't able to get into facilities, weren't able to train. So what did they do? You have people like what's the swimmer's name? Katie Ledecky, where they were out swimming in lakes on people's properties,
Hmm.
and their team was flying out to actually, train with her in a lake that was on somebody's property. And then they had to actually, there were like wild animals that came and chased them out and they actually had to leave. That's a true
I
story.
didn't know any of that.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I would have
So,
been swimming.
so anyway, they did that. I mean, so it's about adversity. But then you look at, we're
Hmm.
watching track and field. We're watching,
Oh,
what's the dude's name? Isaiah
Jewett,
Jewett
Jewett.
and
Yeah.
Nigel Amos ran the 800 meters.
So, and let me just say this: is Amos was from Botswana.
Right.
He's like what, the third fastest man or
Well,
something like
he,
that.
he had turned in the fastest time in the world,
Okay.
for this
Well,
year.
that made
And
him
so they
fastest
knew
man.
that he was going to be like killing it. And this was what, Isaiah's first time getting to the
Yeah,
Olympics.
it's his first time. He's a baby.
Yeah, I would say he was only like
He's
20
24, I
or he's
think.
24.
Something like that. I don't
Young
know.
dude, and they were talking about they were talking him up and he got boxed in. And he was like, oh, he made his move. And as he was making his move and moving up, they tangled legs and they ended up tripping. And so the guy that was favored to actually win it went down along with Isaiah. And then what really impressed me was that these two guys, they helped each other up. Actually, as they were getting up, they gave each other some dap. I don't know if you saw that. But dap meaning, for those of you that don't know, it's a cool handshake. It's a
No, it's
brotherly.
fist bump.
No, it wasn't a fist bump. No, they went
That's
on.
dap. Ain't that dap?
Well, yes,
Okay,
that
whatever.
is. But we always talk. Okay,
Okay,
she's a chick.
whatever,
She's a
whatever.
lady. She don't know,
Oh, you
fellas.
mean
Give her a
the
break.
hand clap
Yes,
in the shoulder?
yes.
Okay.
They helped each other up, and then they walked for a little while. Where even
He's like, let's run it in.
Isaiah had his arm around him, like what, and you could even see Nigel mouth to him, "I'm sorry,"
Yeah, he said, I'm sorry.
and he said, "Let's just finish this race." And they finished running across
They
together.
jogged through
But what was so
together.
funny, not funny, but what was so cool was didn't matter one bit, but Nigel pulled up right before they got to the finish line and let
Oh, so
Isaiah finish
Isaiah
before
could
him
finish for him.
because that's the way they were when they went down. It meant nothing. They came in last and second to last, but it was just that sportsmanship, that willingness to do something for each other, the forgiveness.
Well, I was about to say, so relating that back to marriage, there are times in the marriage where we knock each other down
Hmm.
or we hurt each other in some kind of way, and you have a choice. You could either be mad and turn your backs, or you could look at each other and you could apologize and say, okay, let's finish this together and let's do it together. And then you, part of crazy, you do like Amos did and you yield to the other person. So that made me think about that, because it's like if more couples um were about yielding a little bit of themselves for the sake of their partner, because it's not, though they were racing, when we're in a marriage, we're not racing, we're a team, we're together.
Right.
And a lot of times we don't look at it like that, because i'm 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 looking at it one way because I'm thinking about, well, what's in it for me, or you're looking at it one way and you're thinking about, well, I ain't finna look like no punk because you ain't about to be doing this, and you know I'm the man, and the bravado or whatever. We don't look at it as team. We're together. When you win, I win.
That's
When you
right.
succeed, I succeed.
That's right.
So, let's take our boxing gloves off and let's stop being
So adversarial.
yeah, and let's be together. Let's be teammates. Let's be true partners.
And that was a beautiful
That was very nice.
exhibition
Yeah.
of what
Hmm.
the Olympics are supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, of course we know everyone wants to win and stuff like that. But even I like how we watched, was it the hurdles, 100 hurdles
Mhm.
yesterday? with oh my God, Henny. Is that her? I can't even remember her name. She's the American who had the world record. And
Oh, right.
Camacho is the
From
Camacho something.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, from Puerto Rico. Her brother plays in foot
He's a linebacker for
yeah. But
the
okay, so she lives here, but she ran to represent
the
her
Bears, Chicago Bears.
yeah, Chicago Bears. She lives here, but she represented Puerto Rico for her mother. So those two, you
Used to train
after,
together.
yeah, they used to train together, but it was so funny because even after the race, I mean, you've seen people hug and stuff before, but you would have think that they were back on their college campus because they was like, oh, I can't even breathe or whatever. And, just how they were talking. And even when they did their interview together, they, she was there, the other one was there, and they just talked together about what this race meant to them. But it was like that cohesiveness, that togetherness that I thought that was awesome,
It was beautiful, and it just goes to show that there's times in our relationship where we are going to be adversarial, or you hope not, but we know that there's going to be conflict, and we always talk about that.
Mhm.
That conflict is inevitable,
But combat is optional.
always, and we need to keep our minds on that because it's going to rear its head, and we need to come up with processes by which we're going to be able to get through that conflict. Because if it's not going to be conflict about our finances, it's going to be conflict about our parenting. If it's not conflict about our parenting, it's going to be conflict about something else.
Who cleaned the bathroom or
Yeah,
why you don't clean
a
the
variety of
bathroom.
things, right? It's going to be a conflict about sex. It's like, I wasn't done, but it's going to be something. It's always going to be something, right? There's always, but we have to learn how to deal with it in so many different ways. And one of them is to actually just know that at the end of the day, we're in this together. We are a team. So there's so many different ones. I mean,
And just like not, I'm sorry, and just the having that fight and knowing that when you get married, like you said, Lovey, is not always going to just be cheese and crackers. Sometimes you're going to be like
cheese and
feeling like
crackers. I like that.
feeling like you're just, oh my gosh, I can't do anymore, or I won't say I can't do anymore, but I feel like I'm losing. This is not working. We're not doing.
He's
I'm
not going to do that to me, and she's not going to treat me that way, and
or
she's not going to
or even just that the whole
us and them.
I'm trying to think of like I just feel like I'm losing, and it doesn't matter what I do. I'm not I'm not going to win. So what if I lose myself, or I lose what we have, or whatever. Sometimes you just feel like I just give up. I just, and I'm throwing everything, and nothing is working, nothing is working. Like the volleyball team, let's just talk about them right quick. The
Whew.
women's volleyball team, when they played ROC.
Okay.
Okay, so Jordan Thomas went out, and I feel like after she went out, because she got hurt, she stepped on her teammate's foot, everything just kind of fell apart. Have you ever had something happen in your relationship where one thing happens and then there's like a trickle down?
A cascade of
And
things. Boom,
so
boom, boom, boom,
no
boom.
matter what you throw at it, whatever, because he was putting, everybody went in at this time, during that game, and they just had no answer, and they just, okay, we fought, but they just couldn't get back in sync. Sometimes when that happens, where you feel like you're out of sync, some people stay out of sync, and they just like, oh, just forget it, it's just not going to work anymore, or whatever. But they carry that, and instead of letting it go, talking it out and be like, okay, so what did we do wrong, where did we go wrong, where did we, and talk about step by step by step. Let's talk it out, let's communicate, let's work on it. They just stay stuck in that, it didn't work because, and I threw everything at it, so just forget it, I'm not going to try anymore. But guess what, there was another game. I'm just okay, so America, they lost to ROC. They had another game against the number one team, Italy. And then when they were playing, they went down, and then they came back up, and they went down, but ultimately they won the game. But that's how it is when you don't give up, when you shake it off, and you don't let the loss that happen, or the issue that happened, just ferment and just grow and fester and fester and fester. We have to learn how to shake some things off so that we can move forward.
Come back and fight another day.
Yeah.
And what's funny to me, you said that, you mentioned Italy, and at the end of the game, at the conclusion, when everybody, Team USA was cheering, they're happy, they're excited, and one of the first people that came down there hobbling on the court,
It's Thomas. It's Thompson, I think.
Thompson, yeah,
Thompson.
Thompson,
Sorry, I said
Jordan
his name wrong.
Thompson.
Jordan
So
Thompson.
Jordan Thompson hobbles on the court, and she gave the biggest hug. I don't know if you noticed this. She gave the biggest hug to Drew, the young lady that
Yeah.
replaced her. She hugged her like they were like long lost friends. And it was, and again, it comes back to that camaraderie. Like, yeah, coach put you in to replace me, but I'm giving you the biggest hug in the
I'm
world.
happy.
I'm so happy and so happy for you. And it's just, that's the way it should be. Right. And to take it back to gymnastics, even look at, again, we're talking about how marriage is an Olympic sport. And there's so many parallels between what it takes to be a champion at the Olympic caliber, the Olympic level, is what it takes to be a champion in your marriage. You look at Suni Lee. After she won the gold, God bless her, that was just absolutely amazing. And that performance that she had. But then she was also favored to.
You talking about the all-around gold?
She won the all-around gold.
Yeah.
But then she was favored to actually take the gold for the parallel bars.
Oh, uneven bars.
Or uneven bars. Yeah. Oh, men do parallel, huh? But yeah, men do parallel, women do the uneven bars. So the uneven bars, that was Suni's thing. Like for individual sports, that was her thing. Of course, Simone was like favored to win them all. But with her exit, they were like, look, you can't look past Suni because this is her thing. And then even she faltered. She faltered and she didn't have the performance that she wanted, but she sat there and she cheered on everyone else. She still ended up getting a bronze. But again, that adversity to hold her head high as a champion and to continue to do what she needed to do. She cheered for her teammates. She cheered for other competitors all the way through. But it was just that heart of a champion that no matter what, she held her head high. And ultimately, she still medaled. And I just think it's, and why? Because it's that training. It's that thing that you do when nobody's around, right? All of these champions, I don't care if it was track and field, if it was canoeing, if it's synchronized swimming, if it's basketball, I don't, skateboarding, whatever the sport may be.
Yeah, that was a thing, skateboarding.
People celebrate what they see on television, that gold medal performance. What's really, and I think that we lose sight of it, what really truly needs to be celebrated is not what we see on the day when they win their medal or the semifinal that got them there or these amazing performances. What truly needs to be celebrated is the process by which they got there. It's all the things that took place when nobody was watching. All the things I mentioned, Katie Ledecky and the other swimmers that were swimming in, on private property in somebody's lake. And it was like a friend of theirs or one of them owned it, but there were animals that were out there. I mean, that thing, when it's an off year, it's COVID, not able to go to the training facilities, getting in a lake and swimming and doing what they had to do. The fact that that's what needs to be celebrated. When there was a runner, and I can't think of his name, he had a bunch of injuries last year, and had the Olympics been run in 2020, he would not have been able to participate. This guy trained and ended up winning a gold. But he had a cast.
He had a cast. I can't remember his
name. And when
he
when he won the gold, he ran over and grabbed that cast because that was his motivator, right? That was his charm. He went over and he kissed that cast and he held on to it. And he was crying, but it was like people didn't see the work that he put in for that. You talked about Camacho running for Puerto Rico. People didn't see her, running her butt, just training and all of these people, and not just the U.S.,
right?
The entire world.
Yeah.
There was a woman that ran 200-meter, and I want to say she was from a country like Qatar, or she's from somebody. She just was not she wasn't a competitor in the respect that.
Oh, you're talking about the one with the pants.
She was wearing
the white in the black pants.
She was wearing like a white shirt. Now I want to say she was running for a Muslim country, or at least that was her faith, and she was nowhere close. It's like when the camera's panning and everyone's running, it's like, and they're off. The gun goes off and they're running, and the camera pans, and it basically watches the entire field as they're running. I want to say like 3-4 seconds into going with the field, she was out of the picture. She wasn't even in there. It was one of those things where people had finished and she crossed the line like 5 seconds later, which when it comes to track and field, that's huge. But she was out there competing. But what it took for her to actually cross that line was the same thing that it took the very first person, which was she trained her butt off. Maybe not to the caliber. Maybe her ability wasn't to train as fast, or she wasn't as blessed genetically. but she trained and
Mhm.
she was there representing her country. And the reason why I bring that up is because it also reminded me about marriages, that no one's in a race. Just because somebody crossed the line first and got a gold and somebody got a silver, somebody got a bronze, or you're the lady that was wearing that white blouse and the long pants. And when she crossed, the fact is she crossed the line. And all of us that are married, you shouldn't be looking to your left or looking to your right or looking behind you or looking in front of you, looking at all these different marriages, these different relationships, looking at Snooks and Lovey or looking at Jada and Will or looking at all these different individuals or Beyonce and Jay. You, look at your marriage and do what you need to do. Go through the process, do your training, put your blinders on, because you've got a race to run. And it only includes you and your spouse. Run that race to the best of your ability and just cross the finish line. Focus on that. Not that you got to do it like they do it on Instagram or on TikTok
Mhm.
or on Facebook or you see in these different shows. You don't got to be the Huxtables. You don't got to be the Smiths.
Mhm.
You just got to be you. We just got to be us, the Caissons. We don't do it any better than anybody else. We just do it our way. But the trick of it is we do it together. And there came a point where we didn't. And it wasn't until we got in sync that we were able to actually be the Caissons. And we want you to be whoever you are, whether it's the Smiths, whether it's the Butlers, whether it's the Thompsons, whatever your name may be. I don't know what it is. Whoever you are, run your race together, but train. And the most important thing that you need to be concerned about is not what people see, it's how you train when nobody's watching.
But also, one thing like when you talk about with the Olympics, one thing that all the Olympic participants do, they have coaches.
Hmm.
So you want to be an Olympic coach. I'm not an Olympic coach, but if you want to be in the Olympics, you are training all the time. You're coaching. You're following the advice of your coach. You're listening to what your coach is telling you to do. You're doing those things hopefully, and um, but you're taking advice, or not advice, but you're taking training from a coach. So Lovey and I are coaches. We're marriage coaches. We're not, I couldn't tell you how to run anything unless somebody was chasing you, because that's the only time I run.
And then you just look back going, run, girl, run.
I'd be like, I hope you can, because they gonna get you before they get me, I promise.
But no, you're right. It doesn't matter if you're Phelps, if you're Ledecky, if you're Simone
Everyone has a
Biles.
coach.
Michael Jordan had a coach,
Yeah.
had a shooting coach. He had more than one coach.
Hmm.
Kobe had more than one coach. Kobe didn't just have a coach for on the basketball. Kobe had a shooting coach. Everybody has a Tiger Woods and all these people that you see that are, and I just using Tiger as an example, but you look at, I don't care if you're Phil Mickelson, all these different individuals, they have coaches.
Hmm.
If you want to be on your game and you want to be the best that you can possibly be, you need to look at getting some coaching. And we are marriage coaches and we are here to actually help you. We have clients right now that we're working through that we think things are working out pretty good for.
Yeah.
They seem pretty happy. But it's if not us, then somebody else. I don't care who it is, as long as you decide that, you know what, I want to have an Olympic marriage.
Hmm.
So I need Olympic coaching to help me have that Olympic marriage.
Hmm.
You don't need that coaching all the time, but if you're good, let's take you to great. If you're great, let's get to phenomenal. If you're phenomenal, then it's time to lead by example and make sure that those people that are drafting off of you, that you give them an example by which they can actually aspire to live better than what they're doing. And heck, you might even want to become a coach yourself.
Yeah.
So get yourself a coach. And you can start by going to marriedintocrazy.com. That's just what it sounds like, marriedintocrazy.com. You can look at our philosophy on our coaching page, and you can look at some of the products that we actually have there from a coaching standpoint to see if something applies to you. Just pick up the phone or, go ahead and book an opportunity to do a discovery call with us, and we can see if we're the right coaches for you. You can decide if we are as well. It's been fun. We're getting clients left and right, and it's one of those things where we love. And you might determine we've turned people away. People have decided that we're not the right ones for them. It's about finding the right one for you as well.
Mhm. Right.
So, with that said, today we're actually going to skip over doing the I can.
Are we?
Are we? Okay. She looked at me like, oh, you better not.
I know you should.
So, this is where we actually pull from the I can and we pull one affirmation. It's one of those things. People have affirmations even in the Olympics where they have these mantras that they recite to themselves so they can make sure that they're in the right mindset. Same thing when it comes to the I can affirmations.
You won't like this one. I can go shopping with my partner.
See, Mine says, I can learn something new about my partner as I leave her and don't go shopping with her. No, it says, I can learn something new about my partner. Again, these are things that we focus on for the week so we can get better. And yes, they're repetitive. There's 40 of them, and we throw them back in, we shake them up, and we do it again because it's these little things, doing it time and time and time again, just like the Olympics. You don't practice going over the hurdles once. You do it time and time and time and time again.
I was going to say, you made a rhyme.
What's that?
It's 40 of them. We shake it up, we throw it back in, and and we do it again.
Oh. And that was unrehearsed. Look, y'all didn't know I got, I got skills.
Okay.
I can spit. Here we go. Just playing. Just playing.
I'll be sure. Cut it out.
Just playing. Look, as always, until the next time, be blessed.
Bye-bye.